Hey folks, Gary Dean here with Sentiment Timing, and this is our technical video report for Monday, April 20th, 2026. So we saw a little bit of selling today, but the bulls bid it back up and off the lows, and then we just really went sideways, and it was a really, really boring day. It was a tight range, and that was it. So whatever, if there was any fear about oil moving higher, it was discounted today because oil was up almost, I think 8% today or 9%. The VIX was up, but there was really probably more buyers and sellers in there today because any kind of dip that we had was just getting bid back up. But as I said, this is really the one issue because it's a daily chart and we did get the sell signal. But as you can see, when we haven't really had any kind of dip, that's why I'm kind of on the side that we're going to have at least something like this. I think it will be a little bit deeper. When we had them here after this big run, we saw the SPY go from 640 down to 618. So that was a decent sized little pullback. But maybe we need to see a couple more. It's just the only thing we're looking at is that we did get a buy signal yet on Friday. So we got to keep an eye on that. You can see even from our the liquidity divergence indicator, we have a couple sell signals there. On the 60-minute, this is, we had a bunch of some selling there, which did take effect. And then price has just been diverging from the sell signals, meaning that there was just a lot of bears that had to cover, and they were absorbing all the selling that was going on. But now we look like we're just really consolidating, going sideways. And if that's the case, then we could see a pop higher. Now, I thought we were going to come down and close the gap that from Friday, which it actually looked like we were going to, but once we made it to where the low of the gap was right here at the right around that 706 area, that's when buyers came in and pushed it up to the right around that 709, I think it was. But really, we just went sideways, if you can see here. So this was the opening here. Well, the opening was here, then we came down. And then it just was really boring. We did absolutely nothing. We could look at it as we're just making an ABC and we come down and close this gap. But as I said, when you look at a 15-minute chart, this looks like it's just really consolidation. So we really need to see some follow through before we could really start saying, all right, we're going to have a little bit of a swing trade to the downside. But right now, it seems like people are very, very nervous about missing this market moving higher. And, each week we could see, even when we came down, we had some buy signals towards the end of the day here. We had a buy signal at the open. And then it was really, like I said, we had one sell signal, a couple buys, but we really, did absolutely nothing. And it was a really, really boring day to watch because every little drop we had was getting bid back up and we weren't breaking out. So we kind of have to just wait and see how things open tomorrow. I know the futures are up like 10 points right now, nothing crazy, but still there's zero fear out there right now. Looking at IWM, this was actually up today. We had the initial move down. Where was that? Hang on one second. Let me move over here. So this was the initial, where's the 20th? Okay, so this was our initial move down, and from there, it was just nonstop buying. And then we started getting some sell signals, and you can see, actually, IWM was following them pretty good right there. And we had a couple towards the end of the day. But again, you're talking, if we look at IWM just from like a longer term view here, we've really had, besides it on a closing basis, we really have had zero down days at all. It's just been straight up. And, I still think it's going to need a break. There's nothing that's going to go straight up or straight down. Again, same thing like the spiders is that we did get a sell signal on Friday, but that didn't seem really to do too much on with the spiders. But the one thing you want to notice as well is if you look at the candles here, these are all purple. So that what it's telling us is that there's more buy orders going at the bid than there are at the ask right now, and that's why we're getting these purple candles. So it's a warning sign But until we see price react to it, that's all it is right now. It's just a warning sign. And when we have if we're looking at some upside targets, we actually hit one today. And then above that, we're looking at the 283. Do I think it's going to get there? I don't. I think we're going to have to have a little bit of a pullback, probably closing this gap, maybe going a little bit further down. And really, it's just because of the very overextended areas, and we haven't had any kind of pullback whatsoever. So this is the 60-minute chart. You can see that we had a couple sell signals up here, but again, it hasn't really done anything to price right here. We got one towards the end of the day, which is interesting. The bears are going to have to get it through the IWM below the 273. If they do that, that's where I'm going to anticipate that they're going to close this gap. This really pretty much says it all. This has been nonstop selling from institutions this entire move right here, and we saw a lot of buying on the way down, and we saw price continue down. So what it's what it is, it's giving us a warning sign. That's really the best thing. But you can see that we have some we have divergences on all time frames and all really indicators here. So again, I'm being very careful. I do not like the way the market moves like this. When we do get that pullback, it's probably going to be, it's something to do with oil or Iran. I'm not sure what it is, but we are going to get that pullback. That's going to be, it's probably going to move down pretty fast. And when that happens, it's a matter of from where. That's really the biggest problem with that, because they can continue to melt up even with the selling. So 15-minute chart again, so just saw some selling there. Once we got into the, we saw our duration indicator get to the midpoint. That's when we saw buying step in, and that's really about it. If we're looking at the short-term targets on the upside, 279.44 and then 281.50. And finally, 5-minute chart here is, we had to move down. There's a lot of selling. There was no big moves up like this, but you can see we just grinded higher on it, and now we really have to just wait and see what happens tomorrow. But like I said, I'm not a big fan of chasing any types of rallies like this, because you can get in and you can see price down, a big percentage in a very fast manner, and it does happen. I'm not saying when, and again, longer term, I'm a buyer. Right now, I'd rather wait for price to come back down to me. So with that, have a great night, and I'll talk to you guys in the morning.